Donald Trump is learning a brutal lesson in political physics. What goes up on a balloon of ego eventually comes down under the weight of reality. We're watching it happen in real time. The bubble is cracking, the air is leaking, and even his own allies can smell the rot. And Trump, the self-proclaimed winner, is now watching his movement slowly deflate like a sad parade float on the 4th of July.
Are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
Let's be clear. Every cult of personality ends the same way, not with a bang, but with a whimper. The followers drift, the donations dry up, and suddenly the chosen one looks less like a messiah and more like a man yelling at clouds. It's not a prediction, it's history on repeat. And right now, the Trump bubble isn't about to burst, it is bursting. The numbers tell the story long before the headlines ever do. Polls across key states show slow but steady slippage. Among independents, the gap has widened. Among young voters, it's a canyon. Even in red states, support has softened. Not a collapse, but a slow bleed. Think of it like this. It's a tire with a nail in it. It still rolls on, but it's losing pressure with every mile. The MAGA base is loud, yes, of course they are. But they're not limitless. Their fundraising is down, way down. According to Open Secrets and Reuters, small dollar donations to Trump's PACs have dropped by more than 40% since 2020. That's not a rounding error, it's fatigue. And fatigue is kryptonite to movements built on outrage. Even the diehards are wobbling. Remember those Ride or Die 2016 fans who swore he'd drain the swamp? Now they're the ones asking why the swamp still has Trump resorts floating in it. They've paid, donated, defended, and what do they have to show for it? A man who promised greatness and delivered grievance. A billionaire who keeps begging for $5 a month more of your money. And then there's the party itself, the Republican Party, which right now looks less like a united front and more like a silent knife fight in the dark. They're all stabbing each other in the back. You've got Thomas Massey throwing jobs, Marjorie Taylor Greene turning on her own, and governors quietly plotting a post-Trump future while pretending to still admire his strength. The translation? They smell blood in the waters. When the demagogue weakens, the knives come out always. You can already see the timid courage forming in some senators who suddenly want to reflect on the party's direction. That's Washington code for we're rehearsing our escape speech. Look, these people aren't developing morals, they're developing math. They see a 79-year-old man drowning in legal cases, losing swing voters, scurrying donors, and babbling about tariffs no economist supports. They see a brand that once looked invincible starting to sag under its own gold plating. And they're calculating the same thing every loyalist calculates in a Dan regime. How long can I fake loyalty before it kills my career? So what does the burst actually look like? It's not an explosion, it's a slow collapse. 1,000 tiny defections that add up to an earthquake. You'll see it in campaign ads that quietly stop mentioning him. You'll see it in Fox News coverage that suddenly broadens its focus. You'll see it in donors shifting their millions to the next generation. That's already happening. The Koch network, Griffin, Adelson money, all pivoting towards DeSantis, Vance and Haley. When the money starts running, the message follows. And then one day, the people who went all in on Trump will look around and realize something chilling. They're the only ones left at the rally. Everyone else has moved on. The lights are still on, the chants still echo, but the crowd is smaller and the energy is thinner, and the illusion is finally broken. Because here's the part Trump never prepared for. Loyalty in politics isn't real, it's rented. And the rent is due every election cycle. He promised his followers winning, but when the winning stops and becomes waning, the cult becomes a crowd and the crowd becomes a memory. Every authoritarian fantasy dies the same way, not in fire, but in paperwork, polls and unpaid invoices. Or in Gaddafi's case, with a knife up your arse. There's always exceptions. There's also a generational shift. Younger conservatives aren't MAGA. They're meme-literate cynics who don't worship anyone. They see Trump as a relic, a nostalgia act. The same way your uncle talks about Bon Jovi, they talk about 2016. They don't want to build a new empire for an old man. They want a viral clip and a career. And that's what makes Trump's political future impossible. His own movement is aging out faster than his brand can reinvent itself. So here's what's coming. When the Trump bubble finally pops, it'll happen faster than anyone expects. One bad primary, one failed rally, one donor revolt, and suddenly you'll hear it. That quiet, collective shuffle of loyalists rewriting history. Fox News will pivot, lawmakers will never have supported that tone, and the MAGA diehards will be left clutching red hats that suddenly feel very heavy. Trump never thought this day would come. He thought he'd be the exception to history, the one cult leader that never crumbled. But history doesn't care about charisma, it only cares about gravity. And the higher the illusion rises, the harder it falls. The empire of grievance is cracking. And somewhere in one of his gilded ballrooms, Donald J. Trump is realizing the same thing every strongman does when the applause finally fades. You can't build eternity on a lie. If you want to see more stories like this, click on one of these videos, and please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. It helps the algorithm. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one.